This is Amber's World. If you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you found me. I am so glad that you are here. And if you are not new here, well, welcome back. Today, I bring you another episode of the Black Heroes and Sheroes of Today interview series. This next guest is all about healing, positive vibes, and most importantly, therapy. I had such an enlightening conversation with everyone's favorite therapy patient. Well, at least that's what she refers to herself as. And in this interview, you will know why. Not only does she make it a mission to help others heal from the inside out, she also is a very accomplished, smart, and just super dope individual. And I'm so excited for you guys to just feel her energy and feel the love that's within her heart, just as I have. So, without further ado, I present to you Meg Watt. Can you please tell the good people where you are from?
I am from the west side of Detroit, 8 Mile and Evergreen, born and raised. Yep, city. I'm from the city.
Yes. And as someone who is proud to be from the D, could you let us know your academic background?
Yeah, so I went to Detroit public schools all my life. And actually, my mom and a couple aunts have been Detroit public school teachers like for 20, 30 years. So went to DPS schools and then went to Howard undergrad and then went straight to grad school and then taught at Morehouse and Spelman for a couple years, moved out to Atlanta, and that was a dope experience. And then really quickly, not to get away from my education, but what got me back to Detroit was in Atlanta, it was just really hard to, navigate the relationship space, right? So I was trying to figure out, I'm never going to find my husband here. That was an internal conversation that I had with myself. So long story short, I moved back to Detroit after 11 years and I met my husband 2 weeks later. So yeah,
wow.
It's been dope.
Talking about
so that's the education.
Divine direction.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're right. So maybe I need to get out of Novi and I need to move to
come on down to the city.
I love it. And so you did you also do grad school at Howard?
No, I went to Penn State for grad school
okay.
at State College, Pennsylvania. Yep. And this is another, so you talk about academic background. So I started in a PhD program in genetics at Penn State. And then after 4 years of research, I had passed candidacy, passed comprehensive, and my graduate advisor emailed me one day and was like, I think you should leave with a master's. So that was by that time I had already started therapy, thank God. But that was a really difficult time for your girl. It was intense because I was like, whoa, I had done all this work, 3.8 GPA, put in blood, sweat, and tears, without a doubt, had endured so much racism at that school. And he's like, yo, you need to leave with a master's. So long story short, I do believe everything happens for a reason. And I'm thriving right now, obviously, but
yeah,
at that time, it was I don't know what is going on right now. What decisions do I need to make? But it all worked out. So I just finished with a master's in genetics.
Wow. And so from there, because I know you didn't immediately go from this to being a gone practitioner. So can you tell me after school, what your career path looked like?
Yeah, so I'll start during school because I think everything kind of started with the therapy experience. Mm-hmm. So I was in grad school, I'm in this PhD program, and I'm dating this guy that I met in DC. Very toxic relationship, okay? Very abusive. Not that listen, y'all, I'm talking about some heavy stuff, but just know that I have healed, okay? So I can talk about this and hopefully be a testament to somebody else, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm in this horribly toxic relationship. I'm in the middle of presenting genetic research, at a project symposium. And the school counselor comes up to me and she's just doing rounds, I guess. I don't know what her job was that day. But she stopped at me and she's like, are you okay? Like she just asked me if I was okay. And I'm like, now I was dealing with my at the time boyfriend who was traveling from DC to Pennsylvania to visit me, got into a very bad car accident, was like airlifted to a hospital that was an hour away. And I'm
Wow.
going to visit him every day after class. Okay. So I was done. I was just mentally, emotionally, I was done. So she asked me that and I broke down right in front of her. And she's like, you know what? Why don't you come? Why don't you come see me at the at the office? You know. So I started therapy in grad school. Long story short, broke up with him, healed from all of that trauma. And so then healing just became a part of my journey over the next decade, 12 years to be exact. I was just peeling back layer after layer after layer. So we knocked down mommy issues, we knocked down daddy issues, we knocked down intimate partner rape, financial abuse, you know, all these
Wow.
anxiety, depression, PTSD, right? All of these things. We just kept peeling back, peeling back, peeling back. And I'm like learning more and more like, okay, I like that part. I like that part of Meg. Okay. Like just going through that journey. And so becoming, you know, your favorite therapy patient was really after experiencing over a decade of healing myself and also trying over 30 different healing modalities. So the
Wow.
gong was just
Yeah.
one of the healing modalities that I was introduced to by a cousin because I had always, the shirt says, you might hear me start talking about therapy at any time. That was me. Like I am that person. So she knew that I was about this life. And she's like, have you ever tried Gong? And I'm like, no, what's that? And I tried it. Oh my gosh. Like this should not be under wraps. Like everybody should get this at least once in their lifetime. Like it transformed so much in my life that the therapist who was doing it, she put on a certification for Gong practitioners. And I was like, oh, I would I would like to do that. So
Wow.
yeah. So long story short, like I just healing has brought me to so many different modalities. And I'm just like, I'm a researcher at heart. So I'm always like, what is this? What is this? I want to try this. And just kind of testing it on myself.
Yeah. So from healing, you discovered your passion for helping others heal.
Absolutely. Man, if I don't and when I thought about this interview, I'm like, man, I'm so humbled and honored and almost just like, I wonder what Amber sees in me because like I'm not a historian. I'm not like the person who I'm not in the community, I'm not like I'm the person who's talking to the millennials and the Gen Xers who have high positions of power who are bringing their trauma into the workplace and making it difficult for the younger folks to grow professionally, right? To grow emotionally. So I'm like, I wouldn't say that I'm like in the trenches, right? Like I'm in the boardroom with the people who look like me, who have been impacted and who are unaware of how trauma shows up in their lives. And I'm helping them. So, and I'm doing that because I want my nephews to have a space in the workplace if they decide to do that. If they want to be an entrepreneur, great. But if they have a space in the workplace, I want them to feel empowered. I want them to feel emotionally supported by people who are emotionally regulated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And so what impact do you feel like, I'm sorry, I guess trying to frame my words here. How much more positively impacted do you think the Black community would be if we sought out therapy more?
Girl, that's a loaded question. Like, okay. So I know a lot of toxic people. Okay. A cousin of mine was just telling me today that I think everything is toxic. Of course, a toxic person would say that, but it's like it's like there's so much toxicity that we have normalized it, right? So if we could just normalize healing, we would have so many less divorces. we would have so many less altercations, just in general, conflict in general. We would have so much more stability, emotional stability, um, communication tools. Like, people aren't even aware that the way they communicate is unhealthy. You know, we would have less
Yeah.
diabetes, we would have less hypertension, we would have less cancers. This is my theory, but also based on a lot of books that I've read
Yeah.
that do the research on the impact of stress in our lives. And so when people are like, "Oh, well, that's just how we communicate." No, 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 no. You know, like Georgina and Get Out. No, 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 no. Like, your body is keeping score of this. Your body is keeping score. So to answer your question, we would have like so many more better outcomes in terms of relationships and health. I'll sum it up to those two.
Mm. And so, were there any obstacles that you had to sort through in building this business and everything? Because to put yourself in a position where you help other people heal, that is emotional work as well,
Yeah.
because you're putting so much attention on other people and their needs at that moment. Do you still maintain therapy in the midst of kind of being other people's therapy, in a sense, because the gong is a form of therapy, it's healing and stuff like that. So do you maintain those visits?
Yeah. So I definitely appreciate the question. And let me tell you, Amber, because this was like, this was a long time conflict for me, because my therapist basically just dismissed me about a month ago, but dismissed me like, "You're good. You have all the tools. You don't need to continue to see me." And I'm like, "But I got a business built around going to therapy, you know?" And so the answer is yes. If I endure a trauma that I cannot manage with my tool belt, right,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm calling my therapist.
Mm.
But right now, after 12 years of going and implementing all of the healing tools that I have picked up along the way, I am not in therapy right now. So when I do, manage people with gong, and I also do like one-on-one consults where people are just like, "I don't know where to start with this healing journey." So we
Mm-hmm.
talk about, well, what are you dealing with? Let me give you some therapists. Let me give you some modalities and tell
Mm-hmm.
you about what they do, right? I'm kind of like the Google, that it can be a little daunting when you're starting this journey and people don't want to get on the computer and just Google stuff, right? Like, it's nice to
Yeah.
be able to talk to somebody who has 12 years of healing. And I make it very clear, I am not a therapist. I am your favorite therapy patient, right? So everything I'm telling you is from a patient perspective. And I'm going to give you, I'm like the bridge to the therapist. So many
Mm-hmm.
people contact me and they're like, "You have a therapist for this? Do you have a therapist for that?" And I'm like, "Yep. I got a little directory in my mind and my phone, and I'm ready to go to get them the help they need." But at the same time, I am realizing that I'm kind of an empath as well. So when I do help people, I have to be mindful of how it impacts me. And I was just telling my husband the other day, I'm like, "Okay, I need to do a gong session, like, for myself." So
Mm-hmm.
I know how to check in, tap in, self assess all the time. And I'm making sure that I'm maintaining those energy boundaries and I'm cutting those cords, cutting those energy ties so that I can remain full to help other
Yeah.
people.
And can you let the audience know some of the positive impacts that therapy has had in your life? I know you talked about a lot of breakthroughs have happened and a lot of things
Yes.
going on, but are there a few you can, I know that there's a lot, but are there a few you can specifically talk about to let the audience know, like, some true touchable
Yes.
positive impacts you've had?
Yeah. So, okay. At the top of my mind is uh relationships. I mean, I have had relationships that I've had to navigate very, very carefully. And therapy has
Mm-hmm.
given me the tools to meet everybody where they are. I can literally meet anybody exactly where they are. from the narcissist to the serial killer to the rapist. We're going to have a real conversation. And I'm going to be empathetic to your experience because ultimately you're hurt too. I mean, that's what this is, right? So being able to relate to anybody, and the number one relationship in my life, of course, is with my husband. And I get a lot of single people who are just like, they're doing it wrong. You know, they're doing it wrong in the sense of you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work of yourself, in yourself, in order to be somebody's, you know, I call my husband, he's my vibranium. Like, in order for you to be somebody else's vibranium, you got to do your work. So maintaining that relationship has been incredible. And it's an everyday thing, but it's like, even just the mindset of like, bro, he's like a book. And I'm just so eager to read that book every day. You know what I mean? Every chapter, every sentence. I'm just excited about what the book gonna say next, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's dope. And then I will also say, financially, I think going to therapy, because you can get all the tips and tricks on, you know, how to be financially independent, but it's really about behavior. It's about changing your behavior. And you mentioned my husband and I being able to pay off 130,000 in student loans together. And it was all because of a plan. It was all because of a plan and behavior. Like, I've wasted a lot of money in my life. But once we got on the same page and our behavior changed, it's like we even find happiness outside of things, and we find happiness inside of ourselves. And I just don't think I would have gotten to that point without therapy and without healing as a whole.
Wow. Y'all hear that? Two Black people in love without trauma. And you know, it's like, I mean, it's funny, but at the same time, it's not, because I feel like Black couples aren't given their due. Like healthy Black couples are a real thing. Do I want to see more of it? 100%. But they're out there. And as you mentioned, it's about doing the work and understanding that you started getting therapy as a single person. You didn't start therapy when you got into the marriage. You started that work in your singleness. And I really, really hope that whoever watches this, who is in my age bracket, understands that, girl, boy, however you identify, the work starts with you first. I'm going to ask this question specifically so you can answer that, so that the people in back can hear. Does practicing any type of certification that helps other people healing mean that you have to have it together all the time?
Absolutely not. What? No. Okay. So I remember Mike Brown passed away, and he was murdered. And I went into work and had a breakdown at work. And I was so upset at myself. I was so upset that I cried at the job. And I went to therapy, and my therapist said, she said to me just very plain, she's like, you know, a lot of people think that strength is in, you know, being tough and stoic and, you know, rigid and having this wall up. But true strength comes from being vulnerable. Because when you're vulnerable, nobody can take anything from you. So when people are acting like they got it all together all the time, that's just, you're being fake. Like nobody has it together all the time, bro. Like my dad died in September. I did not have it together. Like, I literally had to put together a grief treatment plan and make sure that I was actively doing that. So you know what? My Instagram post kind of fell off during September. So, you know, if people rocking with me, they rocking with me. So no, nobody, if somebody tells you they got it together all the time.
So first of all, with it, of course, being Black History Month, who is your favorite Black history icon and why? Living or
Living or deceased? Yes. I'm losing my mind today.
So I did not want to give a cliche answer. I really did not. Because there are so many, right? There are so many people who look like me. Like, I come from greatness. Like, I come from royalty. I come from hard work, resilience. Like, I come from the cream of the crop. Okay.
Right.
But if I had to give a cliche answer, it's gonna be it's gonna be Oprah, because I feel like Oprah was the first Black woman who introduced this healing stuff, right? Like, she on the TV show was bringing in people like Deepak Chopra, and she's talking about living the life that you want and manifesting and doing the work on yourself. And I feel like definitely baby boomers are not teen therapy, right? Like, historically, that has not been their go-to. But she was in that age group and was like, well, wait a minute, now let's take a look at this. Let's see what this healing is about. So, I mean, there have been so many other healers, but I'm going to stick with her because financially, what she has been able to do, and how many other people she's been able to put on financially as well, I feel like that's the type of legacy I want as well. Like, not only do I want to like live and give through this mental health, but I want to give a lot. We want to give a lot financially to so many different causes. So I definitely look up to her in that regard. There are other areas where I'm like, ooh, I wouldn't have done that. But the healing and the financial, I know nobody's perfect, y'all. Nobody's perfect. And I am nobody's judge, right? But I like to, pull some of the goodies from everybody and make that dope soup. So,
and that is a very, very good good point. And so it's this hashtag going around called Black Excellence. I've used it a lot. We love it. We understand why the hashtag Black Excellence is important. So my question to you is, what does excellence mean to Meg?
What does excellence mean to me? I would say excellence to me is being proud of yourself. If you have done all that is in your power, all that is in your wheelhouse, and you can be proud of yourself at the end of the day, then you're excellent. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about how many friends you got. It's not about your cars you got. It's not about credentials either. It's not about how many degrees. None of that matters. You can't take any of that with you. But if you can be proud of yourself in a world that is very hell-bent on telling you not to be proud of yourself, then you are excellent in my book.
So before we end this interview, we end it, we have got to do the rapid fire round.
Yes. I watched the previous video, so I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. So knowing what I know about you, Meg, your favorite part about HBCU life, was it?
Okay. All right.
Favorite aspect of HBCU life was it being on the yard or pep rallies? And yes, you can only choose one.
Being on the yard.
Favorite natural hairstyle? Braids or locks?
Locks all day.
Are you just saying that because your wonderful husband has them, or?
I'm saying it because locks are so dynamic. Like, you can literally do any hairstyle with locks, and it's your hair. Like, if I'm assuming you're talking about like maybe some extensions with the braids, or are you talking about cornrows, or like what style of braids are we talking?
You're right, because there's a lot of there's a lot of different braids. There's the Erykah Badu, like zillions, and then you have like the box braids. Like you're right. There are so many different braids out there that fit so many different vibes. So that's why I'm saying, like, they're pretty diverse natural hairstyle. Now that I think about it. So
but I'm still gonna go with locks.
Okay.
Because listen, nobody's hair grows like it grows when they lock it. People with locks have the longest hair in the shortest amount of time. You can't beat that.
Last question. It's Thanksgiving. You have to sacrifice one of the most dynamic sides. Are you sacrificing the macaroni and cheese, or are you sacrificing the dressing?
Macaroni and cheese, because cheese kills. So yes, it's got to go. It does nothing for us nutritionally, nothing at all. And the Black people gonna hate me. Y'all pulling my Black card right now. I don't care. Look up the cheese trap on YouTube, and you will learn that cheese has no benefit in our lives.
Wow. You know what?
You weren't waiting for that one. You thought I was gonna say dressing. Get that dressing out of here.
The answer did take my breath away just a tad. It did take my breath away just a tad bit. It did. But I understand the reasoning behind it, and we love a Black woman who cares about her health. So I can't even be mad. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Black Heroes and Sheroes of Today interview series. Please comment below and let us know how you felt about this episode. And do stay tuned for the next one after this. And with that said, bye.